Hello 10th graders, this is your revision worksheet 2 for semester 4 in the theme of technology and urbanization. Let's start with the blurb. In the selection below, the writer sheds light on the world's biggest bicycle highway in Germany. Read the selection carefully and then work out the activities that follow. Title: Could bicycle highways revolutionize daily commute? And the word commute is moving from one place to another to go to your work. For example, I commute to my work by bus. They commute to their work by car. Okay, commuting is going from one place to another for work using a certain vehicle. Paragraph 1. In 2010, when the motorway between the German cities of Duisburg and Dortmund was closed as part of a cultural project, 3 million people walked, skated, or cycled along the road. For one day only, it had been transformed into a gigantic city boulevard. Spatial planner Martin Tons took the opportunity to cycle from Essen to Dortmund. There were so many people that for the first time in my life, I experienced a bicycle traffic jam, he recalls. But when we saw this mass of people cycling down the motorway, we understood there was a real demand. Okay, so what Tons is saying here that there needs to be a certain highway for commuting by bicycle. Now, Paragraph 3. In December 2015, the first bicycle highway in Germany was opened between the western cities of Molheim, the Ruhr, and Essen. It is just the first stretch of what is going to be the biggest bicycle highway in the world, 62 miles long, connecting 10 cities and 4 universities. When the network is complete, it will remove 50,000 cars from the road each day, with an associated daily reduction of 16,000 tons of CO2 emissions. Okay, here we're already looking at one advantage of this bicycle highway. According to the regional association Ruhr, this new bicycle highway is very different from the narrow painted strips which cyclists have to make to do with in German cities, often risking collisions with motorized traffic. It is fully segregated from cars. So what the author is saying here is that the highway will be strictly for bicycles. So obviously the risk of collision will be much less and the risk of accidents. There will be no other types of vehicles. A comfortable 13 feet wide and equipped with flyovers and tunnels to avoid intersections. It is also fully lit and it will be cleared of snow in winter. Tons clarifies that around 1.6 million people live within 1.25 miles of the bicycle's highways route, and there are 150,000 students and 430,000 jobs. So I am not in the least worried about the demand for it. The bicycle highway will persuade many people to start commuting by bike, with electric bikes making this choice even easier and faster. Paragraph 6. The term bicycle highway sounds very luxurious, so we prefer to talk of fast cycle connections, says Dr. Spape, who is often consulted by traffic planners from other European countries. And her message is always, do not spend too much time on feasibility studies and do not aim for perfection. For example, the Germans have guidelines that require footpaths parallel to their bicycle highways. When this is not possible, do not cancel the plan and be pragmatic. What you want is to get people on their bikes because the bike really is the future. Paragraph 7. Munich is now considering building a bicycle highway to its northern suburbs. We believe the bike is the answer to traffic and environmental problems, says Brigitte Kastrup from the Planning Association of Greater Munich. Bicycle highways are also a way to promote a healthier lifestyle. There remains one problem to be solved, however. Finance. Finance means where are they going to get the money to build those bicycle highways? Bicycle highways are not cheap. Indeed, the costs vary between 500,000 euros to 2 million euros per kilometer. So this is a huge sum of money. Okay, let's take a look at the other advantages of having bicycle highways. Take a look at paragraph 7. First of all, they solve the issue of traffic jam, environmental issues, of course, much less CO2, and promotes a healthier lifestyle. When you cycle, you're making sports, you're improving your circulation, and working out your muscles. Okay, here are some words that might be blocking. Highway, a main road connecting two towns and cities. Commute, regular journey of some distance to and from work. Spatial, relating to space. Now let's take a look at the first set of questions, the comprehension ones. Answer the following questions in complete sentences using your own words. I will take a look at those and answer them in detail based on paragraphs 1 and 2. What motivated the German authorities to plan for constructing a bicycle highway through the Ruhr highway? What motivated them? Remember, they talked about what happened in 2010 when the motorway between the German cities of Duisburg and Dortmund was closed as part of a cultural project. Then 3 million people had to either skate or walk or cycle along the road. Okay, so then this Martin Tons, the spatial planner, got this idea. So it means that the bicycle highway is a necessity. Answer. In 2010, when the motorway between the German cities of Duisburg and Dortmund was temporarily shut down, 3 million people took the opportunity to use it for walking, skating, and cycling. When the authorities saw a huge number of people cycling down the highway, they knew there was a real demand for building a bicycle highway. Question number 2. According to paragraph 4, displayed here, what are the chances of a cyclist getting hit by a speeding car on the bicycle highway between Molheim, the Ruhr, and Essen? Justify. Okay, here, when the network is complete, it will remove 50,000 cars from the road each day. Reduction in CO2 emissions. Okay, this new bicycle highway is very different from the narrow painted strips which cyclists have to make. Okay, often risking collision with motorized traffic. It is fully segregated. This bicycle highway is fully segregated or separate. So what are the chances of colliding? There is little chance for collision since they are fully segregated and separate from cars and other vehicles. Okay, so the chance is almost nil. Number 3, point out the difficulty that could delay the construction of the bicycle highway in Munich for some time. Okay, they talked about this towards the end of the article. The difficulty that could delay the construction of the bicycle highway in Munich for some time is finance, meaning money. The author said that each kilometer of highway will cost between 500,000 and 2 million euros, which is a huge sum of money. So that's something to consider. And it's somewhat of a huge obstacle. Part B, skim paragraphs 4, 5, and 6 to fill in the table with how each given party would benefit from the future bicycle highway through the Ruhr area. Use phrases only. Cyclists, how would they benefit? Going back to the paragraph, no traffic jams, no risk of collision, which is a big, important thing. Cities, how would they benefit? Of course, less traffic jam. How would our environment benefit? Less CO2 emissions. Okay. Moving forward with the other questions. See, how does the writer achieve cohesion between paragraphs 3 and 4? Okay. When we say between the paragraphs, okay, you need to take a look at the first part of paragraph 4 and see how they're linked. Let's read paragraph 3. In December 2015, the first bicycle highway in Germany was opened between the western cities of Molheim, the Ruhr, and Essen. It is just the first stretch of what is going to be the biggest bicycle highway in the world, 62 miles long, connecting 10 cities and 4 universities. When the network is complete, okay, this refers to something here, okay? When it's between two paragraphs, you need to look at the first part of the next paragraph, the second paragraph, and see how they're connected. The network is what? Instead of saying these 62 miles long connecting 10 cities, the author says the network, okay? So the author achieves cohesion between paragraphs 3 and 4 in an indirect link. The author uses substitution. Instead of saying this whole sentence or phrase again, he said the network. So substitution obviously is an indirect link. Okay, in the first sentence, referring to the city 2-mile long bicycle highway mentioned in paragraph 3. Very important tip. When you're asked to tell the link between two paragraphs, you look at the first part of the next paragraph and you should be able to find it right away. Okay, if it's direct, it's a transitional signal of some sort, or some sort of conjunction. If it's indirect, it's either substitution or a synonym or a repetition of keyword or noun, pronoun, referent. Those are all found in your appendix. Now, number 2, describe Ton's attitude in paragraph 5. Support your answer with evidence. Here's paragraph 5. Let's take a look. Where do we get the attitude or tone from? Attitude and tone mean the same. We get them from the author's choice of words. Tons clarifies that around 1.6 million people live within 1.25 miles of the bicycle highway's route, and there are 150,000 students and 430,000 jobs. So I am not in the least worried. This is a tone. He is not worried, so he is reassured. Okay, the bicycle highway will persuade many people to start commuting by bike, with electric bikes making this choice even easier and faster. The tone here seems optimistic, reassuring, okay, encouraging. So the author's attitude in paragraph 5 is reassured and optimistic. Why? Of course, we need a piece of evidence. He says, so I am not in the least worried about the demand for it. He also adds commuting by bike with electric bikes, making this choice even easier and faster. Okay, moving on. Question number 3, who other than the general reader might be interested in reading this text? I'm sure answers will vary, but I'm looking for ideas related to authorities in other cities, for example, in Germany, authorities in other European cities, on other crowded cities, of course, authorities in developed countries, I would say, because, you know, building a highway just for bicycles seems like sort of luxury that developing countries or third world countries are not able to afford. So I would say authorities of neighboring European countries such as France or Belgium or any other European country. Okay, and who else other than authorities in those crowded cities? People living in large cities and suffering from problems with commuting. Okay, or people living in large cities in Europe or in developed countries. Okay, you need to be specific and you need to justify your choice accurately, please. Moving on, identify the type of introduction the author uses in the text. Explain your choice. Let's take a look at the introduction here. In 2002, okay, already this is 10 years ago, so this is history now, a decade ago, when the motorway between the German cities of Duisburg and Dortmund was closed as part of a cultural project, what happened? 3 million people walked, skated, or cycled along the road. Okay, so the author uses a historical introduction, historical facts to introduce the article. Why do we do that? One, you attract the reader's attention. Two, you set the tone, or you give background knowledge of the main topic. The author is giving background knowledge of the main topic, which is about building highways for bicycle commuting. Okay, the author uses historical fact to introduce the article. He says, 2010, you need to tell me why you said it was historical. This type of introduction aims at attracting the reader's attention and giving them background information about the main idea of the article, which is highways used for commuting by bikes. Okay? Now, next part, pronoun reference. What do the following underlined pronouns in the text refer to? Let's take a look at the first one. I displayed the paragraphs here for you. I in paragraph 2. Spatial planner Martin Tons took the opportunity to cycle from Essen to Dortmund. There were so many, this is a quote, so who's speaking here? Tons. There were so many people that for the first time in my life, I experienced a bicycle traffic jam, he recalls. Tons. So I obviously refers to Martin Tons, the spatial planner. Paragraph 4, I'm looking for the pronoun it, okay? This new bicycle highway is very different from the narrow painted strips which cyclists have to make do with in German cities, often risking collisions with motorized traffic. It is fully segregated from cars, comfortable, 13 feet wide. It is also fully. So what are we referring to? Bicycle highway. Okay. Now, moving on to vocabulary. Which of the bold type words in the text are closest in meaning to the following? I displayed the paragraph where both words are, bold type words are found. Okay, set apart from each other. Which one of the bold type words is it? Is it reduction? No, reduction means decrease. Emissions? No, what's giving off? Collisions? No, collisions is when two things hit each other face to face. Segregated, set apart, separated, okay? Remember, both the meaning and its, the word and its meaning need to be the same part of speech and the same tense, okay? Decrease, we already said that. The word is reduction.